The enchanted woods. The idea of a family camping trip had always excited me, but when my parents announced our destination, the remote and mysterious enchanted woods, I felt a shiver run down my spine. My sister, Emma, seemed thrilled, but I couldn't shake the feeling of trepidation that settled in the pit of my stomach. As we arrived at the edge of the woods, the trees loomed ominously, their branches reaching out like skeletal fingers against the darkening sky. Dad seemed unfazed, eagerly setting up our tents while Mom prepared a hearty dinner. Despite their reassurances, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off about this place. Night descended, and as we sat around the campfire, the forest seemed to come alive with strange noises. Branches creaked in the wind, and leaves rustled as if in conversation. Emma laughed and joked, but I couldn't shake the feeling that the woods were watching us, waiting. As we retreated to our tents, the sounds of the forest grew louder, morphing into whispers that seemed to follow us. I tried to ignore them, burying myself under my sleeping bag, but they persisted, echoing through the darkness like a sinister chorus. That first night, I awoke to the sound of footsteps outside our tent. My heart pounded in my chest as I listened, but when I peeked outside, there was nothing there. Emma slept soundly beside me, oblivious to the eerie presence lurking just beyond our flimsy shelter. As the nights passed, the whispers grew louder, their words unintelligible yet filled with malice. Shadows danced on the tent walls, twisting into grotesque shapes that sent chills down my spine. I wanted to leave, to escape this nightmare, but the forest held us captive, its dark magic binding us to its will. With each passing day, the forest seemed to close in around us, its ancient trees blocking out the sun and casting the campsite into perpetual twilight. Mom and Dad grew distant, their once bright eyes clouded with fear. Emma and I clung to each other, seeking solace in our shared terror. Strange occurrences plagued our campsite, objects moved of their own accord, strange symbols appeared etched into the trees, and the whispers grew louder and more insistent. We were no longer camping, we were trapped in a nightmare from which there was no escape. As the whispers reached a fever pitch, we realized the true nature of the enchanted woods. It was not a place of wonder and magic, but a realm of darkness and despair. Mom and Dad ventured into the forest, desperate to find a way out, but they never returned. Alone and terrified, Emma and I made our final stand against the darkness. Armed with nothing but our dwindling courage, we ventured deeper into the heart of the woods, determined to uncover its secrets before it consumed us whole. They found us weeks later, huddled together in the heart of the forest, our bodies emaciated and our minds shattered. The whispers had claimed us, leaving behind only echoes of the family we once were. As I sit in the safety of my hospital room, the memories of that fateful camping trip haunt me still. The enchanted woods calls to me in my dreams, its whispers are a constant reminder of the darkness that lurks within us all. And though I may never escape its grasp, I will forever carry the echoes of that terrifying journey with me. The wilderness embrace. The decision to go camping was a spontaneous one, sparked by my parents' desire to disconnect from the chaos of city life. We packed our bags hastily, eager to embark on an adventure into the heart of the wilderness. My parents, my younger sister Sarah, and I piled into the car, excitement bubbling in our veins as we headed towards the remote camping grounds nestled deep within the forest. As we arrived at the campsite, the dense forest loomed around us, its towering trees casting long shadows that seemed to stretch on endlessly. The air was thick with the scent of pine, and the only sounds were the rustling of leaves and the distant call of birds. We set up our tents amidst the tranquility of nature, eager to immerse ourselves in its embrace. As night fell, the forest took on a new, ominous demeanor. The once inviting trees now appeared sinister, their twisted branches reaching out like gnarled fingers. My parents tried to reassure us, but I couldn't shake the feeling of unease that settled in the pit of my stomach. As we sat around the campfire, exchanging stories and roasting marshmallows, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Every snap of a twig or rustle of leaves sent a shiver down my spine. Sarah's laughter seemed to echo hollowly in the darkness, and I found myself longing for the safety of our home. That night, as we settled into our tents, the forest came alive with a cacophony of eerie whispers. They seemed to emanate from all around us. Their voices were soft and insidious, like a siren's call luring us into the depths of the forest. I tried to block them out, burying my head under my pillow, but they persisted, growing louder and more persistent with each passing moment. In the dead of night, I awoke to find myself alone in the darkness. Panic gripped my heart as I stumbled out of the tent, calling out for my family. But the forest remained silent, enveloping me in its suffocating embrace. I ventured into the darkness, my flashlight cutting through the gloom like a beacon of hope. As I wandered deeper into the forest, the trees seemed to close in around me, their twisted branches forming a sinister canopy overhead. The whispers grew louder, their words incomprehensible yet somehow menacing. Fear gnawed at my insides as I realized I was hopelessly lost, trapped in the clutches of the wilderness. Days turned into nights as I roamed the depths of the forest, my mind fraying at the edges with each passing moment. Shadows danced on the edge of my vision, and strange figures lurked in the darkness, their eyes gleaming with malevolence. I knew then that the forest was not what it seemed, that it held secrets far darker than I could have ever imagined. With nowhere left to run, I made my final stand against the darkness that threatened to consume me. Armed with nothing but my dwindling courage, I ventured deeper into the heart of the forest, determined to uncover its secrets before it was too late. But as I delved deeper into the darkness, I realized that some secrets were better left buried and that the wilderness held horrors beyond my wildest nightmares. They found me weeks later, huddled at the edge of the forest, my mind shattered and my body ravaged by the ordeal I had endured. My family was nowhere to be found, lost to the darkness that lurked within the heart of the wilderness. As I sit now in the safety of civilization, the memories of that fateful camping trip haunt me still, a reminder of the darkness that lies just beyond the edge of our understanding. The woods. Every summer, my family embarked on a camping trip deep in the heart of the enchanted woods. It was a tradition that had been passed down for generations, a rite of passage for every member of our family. This year was no different, as my parents, younger brother, and I packed our gear and set off into the wilderness. As we ventured deeper into the woods, the canopy above thickened, casting eerie shadows on the forest floor. The air grew heavy with the scent of pine and damp earth. My brother, always the adventurous one, bounded ahead, disappearing into the shadows with a mischievous grin. But as night fell, the woods took on a different energy, a sense of foreboding that sent shivers down my spine. My parents brushed off my unease as nerves, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something sinister lurked just beyond the trees. That first night, as we gathered around the campfire, the flames seemed to flicker with an otherworldly glow. My brother regaled us with ghost stories, his voice echoing through the silent woods. But when he fell silent, a hush descended over our campsite, a silence so deep it seemed to swallow us whole. As we retired to our tents, the darkness pressed in around us, suffocating and oppressive. I lay awake, listening to the rustle of leaves and the distant howl of a wolf. But it was the whispers that chilled me to the bone, soft, insistent voices that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere all at once. Inside the tent, the whispers grew louder, their words indistinct but filled with a sense of urgency. I clutched my sleeping bag tighter, trying to block out the sound, but it was no use. The voices seeped into my mind like tendrils of fog, filling me with a sense of dread. My parents slept soundly beside me, oblivious to the sinister presence that lurked just beyond our flimsy shelter. I wanted to wake them, to flee into the safety of the woods, but fear held me captive. As the nights passed, the whispers grew more insistent, their words taking on a malevolent edge. Shadows danced on the walls of our tent, twisting into grotesque shapes that seemed to mock us. My brother's once bright eyes grew dim, his laughter replaced by a haunted expression. Strange occurrences plagued our campsite, disembodied footsteps in the dead of night, and eerie lights that flickered in the darkness. We were no longer camping, we were trapped in a nightmare from which there was no waking. With each passing night, the darkness tightened its grip on our family, threatening to tear us apart. My parents argued in hushed tones, their once strong bond fraying at the edges. My brother and I clung to each other, seeking solace in our shared terror. But when my brother disappeared into the woods one night, swallowed up by the darkness, we knew our time was running out. Armed with nothing but our dwindling courage, we ventured into the heart of the enchanted woods, determined to uncover the truth before it was too late. Deep in the heart of the woods, we stumbled upon an ancient clearing, its moss-covered stones whispering secrets of a time long forgotten. Shadows flitted in the corners of our vision, beckoning us closer with ghostly hands. As we delved deeper into the clearing, we uncovered the truth behind the whispers, the restless spirits of those who had perished in the woods, trapped between this world and the next. My brother stood among them, his eyes vacant and distant. With a newfound sense of purpose, we confronted the spirits, pleading for release from their malevolent grasp. But the forest had other plans, its roots reaching out to ensnare us in its dark embrace. In a desperate bid for freedom, we fought our way through the tangle of trees, our hearts pounding with fear. And as the first rays of dawn broke through the canopy above, we emerged from the enchanted woods, our family forever changed by our harrowing ordeal. Years have passed since our fateful camping trip, but the memories still haunt me like a ghostly echo. The enchanted woods may have released us from its clutches, but its secrets linger on, a reminder of the darkness that lies hidden within us all.